I'm Irving, and I have no life, just like you. This is an expansion pack for the popular game Fear. It includes 2 new campaigns, both of which more or less follow on the heels of the main story that we saw in the original game. Like Fear, they were originally released for the PC and later ported to the Xbox 360. When that was done, they were sold as a single package. And that single package Xbox 360 version is what we're looking at today. But before we get started, I want to rant a little. A while back, one of my favorite gaming websites ran a contest to find the best game villain of all time. That's fine, except that for the Fear series, they got the villain wrong. They went with Alma. Let's get something straight. In this story, Alma is not a villain, at least not deliberately. If you follow the plot line, she's the major victim. She's insane and hence not responsible for the bad things she does. This series has 2 major villains. Harlan Wade, the guy who set this whole mess up, and Paxton Fettel. Alma has killed a lot of people, but she's not evil. She's not a villain. She's a tragic figure who needs to be confined, not hated. Okay, now that I've got that off my chest, let's get to the review. The first campaign is called Extraction Point. It picks up where the first game left off. The no-name operative went down to the vault and killed Paxton Fettel, the psychic commander of the replica armies that the Armicam company had been developing. He then watched helplessly as Harlan Wade, the architect of this whole mess, released his daughter Alma, and she promptly incinerated him. Alma, we learned, is actually dead. Wade put her into a coma at age 8 and stuck her in a vault designed to block her psychic abilities. He brought her out twice, both times to give birth to genetically engineered babies that he implanted in her. She wasn't supposed to wake up, but she did both times and demanded her babies. Both times, Wade drugged her again and sent her back to the vault. Considering that she was his own daughter, incineration was way too quick a death for this guy. Anyway, even though her body died after they quit feeding her, Alma's essence refused to die and just got stronger, basically sustained by intense hatred. That hatred, along with being isolated for 20 years, drove her insane, and now she lashes out at anyone and everyone she can reach. In an effort to finish the madness surrounding this project, the operative caused a power system overload that destroyed the underground vault where Alma was kept. Unfortunately, the resulting explosion took out about 1/3 of the city where the vault was located. We also learned that Paxton Fettel was Alma's second son, and the unnamed operative is his older brother. The operative didn't know this until Fettel told him, but once he knew, a lot of things started to fall into place. As a chunk of the city vanishes in a mushroom cloud, we see the Fear team riding a helicopter out of the danger zone. But we also see Alma suddenly climb onto the chopper. That's where the first game ends. Extraction Point begins at that same spot, and the next thing we know, the chopper is wrecked and everybody's amazed that they're still alive. Now we have to find a way out of this mess and try to make contact with the outside world so we can be extracted from here. Hence the name. Extraction Point introduces a couple of new elements. From the first game, you remember the random blippy guys, or RBGs, the random flying doohickeys, or RFDs, and the random ammo wasters, or RAWs. From the very start of Extraction Point, we have a new random enemy, some kind of transparent, red-eyed ghost things. These guys run up and slap you just like the RBGs, but when you shoot them enough times, they turn to smoke and vanish like the RAWs. Don't worry, the RAWs are still there. Where these guys come from is anybody's guess. Let's call them REFs, red-eyed freaks. We also have random boxes of goodies sitting around. You can tell them from basic background clutter because they have special markings on them. Walk up and hit one and it bursts open, revealing a med kit or some weapons or other stuff. Some are empty, which keeps you guessing. Who put the boxes there? No idea. But it sounds like a commercial, doesn't it? Look in specially marked boxes of Fear cereal for some really cool toys. There are also little cases of grenades at various spots. It's a handy way to get some good stuff, even if it's never explained. Another new feature is little blobs of black smoke that you have to walk through. When you walk into one, it gives you a weird vision and usually ends with some RAWs coming after you. And of course, there's no way around them. Just go with it. Extraction Point also offers us a nifty new toy, the deployable turret. This is a little automated rotating machine gun you can carry with you and just toss out when you need something to watch your back. As soon as it detects an enemy, it starts firing and doesn't stop until either the enemy is dead or the enemy destroys it. They can't just walk up and move it because it sticks to whatever it touches first when you deploy it. This means you have to be really careful when you throw it, because if it bumps into a wall or something, it could end up covering a 6-inch space between two boxes and nothing else. But if you get it deployed in a good spot, it can really help you against a horde of bad guys.
Ahem.
You again?
Yes, Sir Reginald Cornelius Cadwallader Nitpick the Fourth.
The fourth. Somebody actually let your family reproduce.
There's no need to be a cad. You should be happy I'm here, because this is all wrong.
What is?
This deployable turret. It should be deplorable turret, because it's utterly impossible, you know.
And why is that?
Well, it's a machine gun, you see, and as you can tell from the segment you already showed, it fires at quite a high rate of speed. The question is, what does it fire? Look at the size of that thing. Where does it keep all those bullets? How are they fed into it? Where is the sensor that detects enemies? By my precise calculations, it should only be able to fire 4 or 5 bullets before it...
Some people ask way too many questions. You'll get used to hearing me say this. Just go with it. There are a couple of other new weapons. The most tempting is the laser carbine. When the bad guys use it, it's a wicked piece of equipment. When you use it, it's a pain in the butt. It's hard to aim, takes a fairly long time to power up, and uses up its fuel in a few seconds. While it seems like a cool addition, you'd do well to avoid it, at least for now. It shows up again in Fear 2, and there it's developed into a useful weapon. So once again, stay tuned. When you get the chance, instead go for the minigun. This thing is one of the handiest weapons around to use against enemies in heavy armor, and it's just a kick to use. The first smoke blob shows you something you really didn't want to see. Paxton Fettle. Since you killed him, the replica soldiers have gone dormant. They're just standing around like statues. Walk up and hit one and knock him down, and you can take the ammo from his weapon. That's about to change.
I know it doesn't make sense. Not much does anymore. You killed me. I didn't like that.
Suddenly, you have a firefight on your hands. You slowly grasp that Alma has brought his essence back so he can command the replicas. Their mission? Destroy you, the one who killed her other son. Unless you can fight your way through them to extraction, you're screwed. Sadly, the graphics are a lot poorer in this add-on than they were in the first game. The biggest problem, as before, is the damn dust. Every time somebody shoots, a huge cloud of dust arises and obscures your vision. Trouble is, an extraction point is not very well done, so when the dust comes up, it looks like your screen is having a stroke or something. If you're in a dark area, the screen just turns black in big chunks. The enemy movement is a lot jerkier, and a lot of the background textures are really grainy. Obviously, a lot less work went into porting this one. Alma apparently doesn't like the idea that one of her sons killed the other, and she shows it in her own special way.
Here we are, brother. I seem to be a little worse for the wear. And you are prey. I'll leave the two of you alone.
We encounter a few other old friends, like phone messages. It's too bad that most of them are about as meaningful as this one.
It's me. I can't make lunch today. Oh, shit.
The story, what there is of it, is equally poor. You were teamed up with a couple of other folks, a woman named Jin and a guy named Holiday. Early on, Jin is captured by Fettel, but through no effort on your part, she manages to escape. Holiday asks how she did it, and she just says, "I'm not Alice Wade." Oh, snap. So the three of you are trying to work your way to an extraction point at the hospital not too far from your location. They're really beating us over the head with the name of this game, but hey, whatever. Now and then, Holiday has your back, but most of the time it's a typical solo gig. You and Holiday get into a warehouse along the way and come to a phone that's ringing. Another little message, right? You be the judge. Holiday is fond of saying he has a bad feeling about this whole thing, and apparently he's right. After you get past a bunch more replicas, his bad feeling pans out.
Find Jin.
But whatever got him isn't done with him yet. Cue the sound effect. Thank you. So, now that he's out of the way, you need to find a subway entrance so you can follow the tracks to the hospital. Why can't you just use the street? I have no idea. Maybe it's so you have to go into more buildings and run into some random blippy guys. Ever wonder what happens when one of these guys gets hit in the head with a penetrator rod? Okay, I have to admit, that was cool. Anyway, apparently one reason you have to go into the subway is to discover that the replicas are planting explosives in the tunnels to bring them down. Why? Who the hell knows? You're busy dealing with this thing. Alma kills some replicas, and you run into the red-eyed freaks, who finally decide to actually attack you. Like the first game, this one has some occasional glitches in its hit detection. A grenade had a really strange effect on this guy. And I'm not sure what happened here. So you head through the subways, and just as you're about to exit, the replicas detonate their explosives. You get thrown onto the roof of a building and have to fight your way out of it, then find another way to the extraction point, blah blah blah. Once you get to the hospital, you not only run into a bunch more replica soldiers, you run into the red-eyed freaks again. Note to self, do not get sick anywhere near this town. Anyway, you go in the hospital, take the life flight elevator to the roof, fight all the bad guys in the known world, then make a run for the chopper that's landed to get you. Just before you open the last door, there's a huge explosion that throws you back and destroys the helicopter. You get up, dazed, looking around, and you hear Fettel talking and making all kinds of weird predictions and pronouncements while you look out over the ruined city. That's it. That's the end. Nothing gets resolved, nothing gets explained. You're just standing there wondering what happened. I suppose that's to be expected in a game with absolutely no story, but that doesn't make it any less irritating. To be honest, pretty much the whole thing feels like padding. The routes you follow to progress through the game are twisty, turny, and a little artificial in their length, as if they had to do something to make it long enough to call it a game. As an add-on, I suppose it makes a certain amount of sense, because it extends the action and puts you in settings where you can fight replicas, and it picks up the story after Alma appears on the helicopter. As a standalone, forget it. The only reason to play this is to explain why Fettel is still running around and the replicas are active again when you get to Fear 2. And that would have been easy enough to cover in a short cutscene in one of the other games. Ultimately, you can have some fun with it, but don't expect too much because it's not there. The second campaign in the Fear Files package is called Perseus Mandate. The first game mentions something called Perseus in some of the info messages, but never really spells out what it was. This add-on fleshes out that aspect of the Armacham saga. As the story opens, Paxton Fettel is still at large. You're part of a second Fear team that was being inserted to secure Armacham's data center and get info about this mysterious Perseus project. From the beginning, we're introduced to a couple of new enemies. Morrison, the leader of a strike team that's also being sent in to get the Perseus data, and a nameless senator who's pulling the strings from the shadows.
Yes, Senator? Things have gone to shit at Armacham. What do you want me to do, sir? What you're good at, Morrison. You may not like the consequences. Perseus is mine. Get it back. I don't care what you have to do.
We're in.
For some reason, your plane drops you outside the Armacham complex and you have to go through what looks like an abandoned aqueduct that's filled with junk, destroyed cars, weeds, and other random obstacles. Why didn't they put you closer to your objective? Who knows? And of course, from the very start, you run into replica soldiers. Naturally, they just instinctively know you and your two buddies are enemies, so they start shooting. Almost from the very start, we meet up with some old friends. The omnipresent dust that slows the game down and leaves you saying, "I can't see a thing." Specially marked boxes of toys and supplies, and of course, random blippy guys. The first time you defeat them, one of your team members says, "That's new." Not to us, it's not. Once again, your character doesn't have a name, but at least this time he has a rank. They keep calling you Sergeant. I guess that's better than Buddy or Hey You. Not much, but a little. You still have the heightened reflexes so you can do the slow-mo thing, even though you're not one of Alma's sons or Fettel's brother. That's never explained, but what the hey. As so often happens in this package, just go with it. As soon as you get into a building, a big grate falls down and cuts you off from the other two guys in your team. They run off, being chased by a squad of replicas and some kind of powered armor that you met several times in Extraction Point. So as usual, you're a one-man operation. As soon as you get separated from your team, you fall through a weakened floor and end up in the sewers. Gee, what a surprise. and you land in some nice brown water. It's a good thing you play this on a television and not a smell-o-vision. But now you have to wander all over hell and part of Auburn to find your way out. And of course, there's a ton of replica soldiers down in the sewers waiting to kill you until you're dead. Why are they there? I don't know. Anyway, while all that's going on, Armacam's security guys are having a running firefight with replica soldiers, though nobody's really sure why. Your group leader, who's back on the plane you jumped out of, warns you not to get caught between them. Yeah, right, like that's going to be possible. Once you find your way through the maze of sewers and kill a few dozen replicas, you get back to the surface just in time to learn that the local police's Delta Force has a team trapped inside one of the buildings. Worse yet, they went into the same data center you're headed for, so you get to go rescue them. Professional courtesy, it's called. But to get to them, you had to get past an army of ATC guys out on the street. It should be easy, except that somebody hasn't been maintaining the buildings. So you battle your way through dozens of replicas and any number of ATC security, and as you get close to the building you want, one of your guys comes on the radio and says, "Remember, we're meeting at the maintenance entrance." Okay, and where the hell is that? The one thing that's sorely lacking in all of these games is a frigging map. You're constantly trying to guess where you have to go, and there's no help at all. Anyway, you catch up with the rest of your team. Somehow they apparently got away from the bad guys in the powered armor and have been waiting for you, and head inside the building you should have been dropped at in the first place. As you head in, one of them says, "Stay close, Sergeant."
Oh, I feel so much safer with you big strong guys to protect me.
Interval 2 introduces yet more new stuff. We start seeing some major carnage that's out of character with the way the replicas do things, so there must be some new bad guys on the scene. We encounter them soon enough. But first we have to deal with one of those random smoke blobs. So on we go. At the moment, somebody tripped the security gates in the building, and you're sent off to find a way to open them. There aren't any enemies along the way. You just walk a maze of rooms and corridors until you find a big red switch and pull it. Now you meet the new bad guys.
Get him, boy.
These guys look a lot like the replicas, but sometimes move like they've got special suits like the random blippy guys. They have really deep, flat voices, the better to creep you out with, I guess. For me at least, it really doesn't work, but I'll give the programmers points for trying. These guys also have a new weapon, the VES Advanced Rifle. What's advanced about it? It makes these really cool blue flashes when you shoot it. Actually, it's a pretty cool weapon. It fires 3-shot bursts like the ASP rifle that we're familiar with from the previous games, packs a huge wallop that takes bad guys down a lot quicker, and has a low-light scope that helps you see the bad guys more easily. It's probably the most useful new weapon this whole package brings us. Naturally, by Fear 2, it's nowhere to be seen. Oh well. When you and your team catch up with the mighty Delta Force, they're holed up in a security office. Your man Chen fixes the cameras and you see someone interrogating an Armacam guy named Bristol. He's asking for encryption codes to something called synchronicity. Bristol explains that synchronicity was an event, not something they can steal. Then he realizes they want to recreate that event. We've played the other games, so we know the synchronicity event was when Alma reached out from her coma and gave Paxton Fettel his life's motivation to kill everybody associated with the whole situation. But as a sergeant, you're not supposed to know that yet. The leader of the new bad guys cuts Bristol's throat, and your men decide to take the Delta Force guys, who are really banged up, to an evacuation point. You're supposed to hold off the bad guys while they do. Fortunately, you have a turret to play with that'll help you immensely.
Find him.
Of course they manage to destroy it after a while, because no matter how many you take out, there's 14 bazillion more to take their place. I think these guys are part cockroach. Anyway, now you get to go take on the rest without the benefit of your turret. Lucky for you, there aren't that many left, despite what you may have seen a moment ago. To call this place a maze would be an insult to mazes. This place is freaking nuts. Here's a good example of one of the places you have to go through.
The other team has confirmed that the point of Perseus was to train telepathic commanders to work with clone soldiers, although it looks like Paxton Fettel was the only commander in the program. Your tax dollars at work, gentlemen. It appears that Fettel was developed as part of a project called Origin. They pulled the plug a few years after he was born. Apparently something went seriously wrong.
What the heck is that for? Who designs a place like this and why? You heard that commentary about Origin. Something went seriously wrong. Gee, you think? You battle your way to the mainframe computer to get the data that your boss wants. Just like every other computer you've accessed in these games, the mainframe is actually another Dell laptop. But I'll let that pass. As soon as you have the data, the mystery guys attack. It's not much of an attack, and if you have a deployable turret handy, you can take care of them in pretty short order. Then you're supposed to get to an extraction point, but good old Alma starts acting up again and you wind up getting blown out of a window. Wait a minute, haven't we already used this gag like twice before? Never mind, just go with it. Interval 3 is an attempt to find out what the mystery mercenaries are after. One group is going after Armacam's corporate archives, while you're heading for their bioresearch division. But as your chopper tries to land, you run into one of those powered armor things, so you have to land elsewhere, team up with Delta Force, and make your way through the war between the replicas and ATC security to reach your goal. Interval 4 is basically a chase. You're trying to catch up with Morrison and discover what he's after. Eventually, you learn that he's stealing Paxton Fettel's DNA, and that there's another site on a nearby island where he's supposed to get something else. Having played the first game, we know he's after Alma's genes, but the sergeant and his buddies don't know that. Anyway, just as you and your fellow soldier Chen catch up with Morrison, the city explodes. This, of course, is the explosion that the other Fear operative triggered at the end of the first game. Morrison escapes, and now your mission is to survive and try to figure out what happened to the rest of the Fear teams, Delta Force guys, and anybody else you can find. On to Interval 5. Interval 5 introduces us to yet more randomness. Morrison is forgotten for the moment because you're underground battling the red-eyed freaks. A small cave-in temporarily separates you from Chen, and just as you get to him, something in the floor grabs him and tears him to pieces.
Come on, Morrison's getting away. Somebody's got my leg. Something's got my leg! Fuck, help me!
Now, without warning, you come upon expanding black spots on the floor, and of course there's no way around them. When you cross one, some kind of monster appears from below and tries to grab you. A few well-placed bullets or a couple of blasts from a shotgun make him go away, but the overall effect is the same as the red-eyed freaks and everything else. Random ways to make you waste your ammo. According to one of the briefings at the beginning of the segment, the explosion has triggered loads of paranormal activity. Oh, is that what it is? I thought it was just padding to make the game longer. Silly me. When you catch up with Morrison, he's in a cage, courtesy of those mercenaries who were working for him. He calls them night crawlers. No, stop that! They got what the senator wanted, and now they don't need him anymore. So he wants your help. He's promised to take you to Alma so you can get there before the bad guys do. Hold on, isn't he a bad guy? But now he's turned on them, which makes him a good guy because the other bad guys turned on him. Oh, now I'm all confused. But your captain gives you permission to shoot him if he tries to escape. So Morrison opens a secret panel that leads to a secret tunnel that leads to a secret abandoned mine that leads to a secret facility where some secret stuff is going on, blah, blah, blah. As the panel opens, we see our old pal Paxton Fettle. He makes his usual cryptic remarks and vanishes. Morrison, of course, is freaked out and suddenly wants you to lead the way. It doesn't help him. I won't give it away, but suffice to say that Alma does not like this guy, and she has a rather unique way of showing it. After his timely demise, your captain comes on the radio and tells you the facility has 3 levels. The lowest is the vault, which is where Alma's DNA is. So, of course, you have to get to the vault. That's the way it goes in the Fear universe. All roads lead to the vault. So you fight your way to the vault. Somebody, he's never actually named, but he seems to be their leader, is directing the night crawlers and makes it to the vault ahead of you. As you reach him, you hear him say, "I have the DNA. Prepare for extraction." Now it's a race. So you head off after him, but for some reason suddenly you're fighting replicas again. Say it with me, just go with it. It makes for some terrific battles on your way to the final showdown. The leader of the night crawlers is basically your final boss, and what a boss he is. The fight leading up to him, your battle with him, and a massive firefight with a squillion replicas as you and the captain wait for your extraction helicopter are easily the best part of this game package. You have the tools you need to defeat all of them, but you really have to get creative at times. It's a fine challenge and provides a satisfying climax to the Perseus Mandate story. By the time Fear 2 was made, the franchise had changed companies. So in the grand scheme of things, the stuff that happens in Fear Files is basically meaningless. But it's fun. There's little or no story to Extraction Point, but it does extend the first game by several intervals, and that's a good thing because the first game is awesome. And Perseus Mandate gives us some of the most amazing foes we've ever seen and gives us a compelling story to play through. The randomness and the damn dust aside, the package is worth the price, especially if you buy it used.
Ahem.
Now what?
The proper term these days is pre-owned. All right. Good bloody yanks and bloody guns and...
It's worth the price, especially if you buy it pre-owned at your favorite game store. Like the first game, each of these has 4 difficulty levels, and they're different enough that each one feels like a fresh game. It's a nice transition package and does end up being a worthy part of the Fear series. Thanks for watching. I'm Irving, and I have no life, just like you.